County Design Review Board meeting for Thursday, August 6, 2015. Let's see, we have minutes to approve. We have a motion to approve.
I move we approve the minutes from the July meeting.
July meeting. We have a motion to approve the minutes for July meeting. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign.
Excuse me.
Motion carries.
Excuse me.
Oh,
Carrie, is my book at the front window?
we've got you all hooked up. Okay, next on the agenda, is there any announcements, Tim?
No, sir.
No announcements? Okay, items to be heard. We have first on the agenda is Hardee's.
Good evening, Tim Brown with Planning and Development. I believe that they have done what the board requested of them from last month. As far as the code is concerned, they are in compliance with the U.S. Highway 98-331 scenic corridor requirements.
Okay. I do not have any questions. Does anybody have any questions for Tim? Landscape was taken care of?
Yeah, they put in the hedge.
Yeah.
The code, it's commercial to commercial, but the code says anytime you're putting parking, it's got to be screened with a hedge.
Right.
So they need a hedge on both sides. In the back is an easement. We don't require landscaping along an easement. And they also landscaped the retention pond as the board requested from last month.
All right.
And it looks like the stars were removed from the stucco relief.
The star on the, is it on the,
It's on the sides of the building.
it's gone now, right? Yep. But this is the actual,
Yeah, they removed those stars.
okay. And that was about it, wasn't it?
I think that's all the board was looking at, the hedge, the retention pond, and the stars, and they've made all those changes.
All right. Do we have any questions for the applicant, or good to go? Well, if there's no questions, so let's, do we have a motion? Colors are okay? Well, that's another subject, but anyway.
I would like to see it lighter, but
Lighter, yeah.
to me it looks like the primary color is more of an accent color, but that's it.
It'll
I'll
stick
defer
out
that
from
to
the
our
others,
design
that's for
folks.
sure. It'll stick out from the others. Which the other ones are a little old. All right.
So what you're saying is,
Is there a
You should-
elevation with the stucco colors marked?
I think so. I think we just have the picture to go on. I'm saying I would like to see more of the lighter versus more of the darker. And the browns.
According to this chip, it actually looks lighter than what's in the picture.
The picture does seem a little dark. I'm just
Yeah.
saying there's more of the darker
Mm-hmm.
versus the lighter.
Right. The lights on the second level and the darks on the first
Is
level.
that, from a design perspective, is it better to have the lighter up top versus the darker? Just seems like a lot of dark to me.
Okay, we've got is this just a larger version of what's in our packet? Okay. I have a question about the landscape, the tree buffer, the landscape buffer requirements. This is on sheet LP1.
but
It's noted here, canopy tree requirement, 20-foot buffer, property line south. Canopy trees, 2.5 required, 0 provided. And there's an asterisk, and I'm looking for what the asterisk means.
Hi, Scott Rutherford, SCOTRUTHERFORD. I'm with SCR. I'm the agent of the applicant. So just wanted to offer my help if there's anything I can answer any questions.
All right, Scott.
What that is, David, is because of the overhead power lines, they're not putting any canopy trees in. That's why it's a 0. They're putting in the 4 understory trees.
So the 4 trees across the front of the property are red buds.
Well, those are actually canopy
I don't see
trees,
this
but
color anywhere.
they're not putting the live oaks because the live
brown
oaks,
band?
you know, they're wide and tall,
I don't see
and
that in here.
that doesn't go well with power lines.
I
But
don't know why they have
but
to have a third
typically
color.
we allow
I know.
understory trees, but redbud is actually a canopy tree, but it's a more narrow, at least narrower than a live oak.
Okay. And then I'm actually looking for on the legend, the live oaks are not, what we have is a river birch, if I'm understanding that.
Yeah, that's okay in the islands. The islands just have to have a canopy tree.
Okay.
It's one. They have to at least have one canopy tree in the island. Doesn't have to be live oaks. The live oaks are required in the scenic corridor landscape.
Okay, so in this
buffer.
project, because of the overhead power lines, there are no live oak trees.
That's right. Yes.
Yep. Oh, so it is showing some of the colors here.
Yeah, but I think there's some mislabeling on colors.
Could you walk us through what colors will be where? We have a sheet of the 4 colors, but it's hard to tell where they're going on the building.
Well, the lighter color that you see in the, yeah,
It's really different in the 2 different,
This one almost looks closer to.
there is a set of architectural elevations as well.
Yes, and it's the letter call-outs on the elevations for the colors are almost illegible because they're so small.
Okay.
Yeah,
There was
that's-
also a full-size set submitted as well.
Do we have those?
You have 3, besides the gutter downspout,
Uh-huh.
you have 3 colors submitted, and I think I'm seeing 4 different colors on the elevation besides the downspout.
If I understand correctly, what the architectural has done here is the first color, the darker of the colors, will be the primary color on the tower portions and around the base. Then the lightest of the colors will be around the top of it. We've got one small strip in there as a band around the middle.
Yeah, that color's not presented.
it says
think-
that the band is the color,
Yeah,
It's hard.
it's the top one.
as a saying, yeah.
Right.
So evidently the photoshopping, they didn't take care of that color in the picture. But
You look a lot
it does
better.
apply that the darker the color is that middle band.
So the band would be the same color as the walls, the dark part of the walls? It wouldn't be this kind of rust color?
Correct.
Okay.
Why is the collection box and the seamless gutter and downspout a totally different color? I don't see one here anyway.
There's-
It's just hard to
Y'all
tell.
see it? I don't see it.
Yeah, why would you want that standing out?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, why is this now, I don't see a downspout or a collection box or whatever.
Those would be in the rear of the building.
Okay.
But it's a Sherwin-Williams paint, so I guess the question is why are those going to be standing out
Oh, there it is.
Has different elements.
Yeah,
I,
I mean, it could be the same as the others,
I would think it would look better if it was the same as color as the body.
unless they're trying to make sure they don't miss it. Um, Okay,
It's
so
like
you,
it shows it on here, that band being a different color, but it's hard to read.
It looks like instead of relabeling some of the color tags, they just changed the colors associated with those tags. So it looks like several of the tags share the same color, even though they're lettered differently.
You're referring to the description key there on the elevation plan, A4?
Yes.
They broke, what they did was they just broke it up by material, and then they put the associated color with that material. That's why you see the same color appear several times.
But it's all ephes. Like A and B, they're all ephes, but
What is?
Right,
one
yeah.
is A.
Slightly different thickness in the system itself.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you're right, those are fairly small. Over the 24 by 36, you can read that much better, but that's why they did it, because you have a different thickness of the ethos, but same color associated with them.
So where
In
it
some
says,
cases.
where it says A on there, and it says that is EFIS band, drainable EFIS system, sand pebble, fine finish.
Right.
Okay, so that says Urbane Bronze.
I think the problem is these don't have the names.
Yeah.
Do you know which one of these colored swatches is what name? Urbane Bronze versus Hop Sack versus Nomadic Desert,
If you,
Tony Taupe.
yeah, if
There
you
are 5
look in
colors
that,
on here and only 4 on here.
I'm sorry, say that again. I didn't.
There are 5 colors on this list,
Yeah.
but there are only 4 that we see here.
Yeah, like your freezer cooler and some of your doors have SW 6109 hop sack. And
One of the colors is the
It's-
golden fleece, and that was the star, and we don't have the star anymore.
Yep,
Okay.
That's correct.
I just figured that out too.
Yeah,
but
so-
but the exterior freezer unit,
Freezer units.
exterior freezer unit, which is labeled E,
See,
says
this hop
SW
sack.
6109
Yeah, this is a
hop
different
sack.
color, 'cause this is Urbane Bronze, and this is
And
hop
that
sack.
supposedly is over here on your Munsell color sheet. You say prefab freezer cooler unit is that color,
Right.
but this color is supposed to be the same as all of the EFIS bands. And if you look at the EFIS bands on the description of A4, those EFIS bands are a different color.
Actually, if you look, the proposed Sherman-Williams color, just to the left of that column, you'll see the Munsell color on that prefab freezer. The Munsell color is 10YR.
I got you, okay.
That will relate to the very top color.
hop
So it's
sack
the
is 7.
same color as the main body around the base of it.
So these are the Munsell colors. Okay.
Yeah, just to the right of the description is the Munsell color.
Yeah. So this
Gotcha.
is A, would be
So that's Hop Sack.
6, would be
Yes, sir.
So, for the record, the band in the middle here that looks like it's a bronze, that's gonna be the same color as the one on same color as the bottom paint color. Otherwise, there's 3 different colors right here alone. And then you got the
It's either gonna be the same color as the
It's
base
this
there,
color.
I'll have to revisit this real
It's
quick,
the really dark color.
or
Yeah.
the same color as the top band.
Okay, all right.
Same
Because
color
it
as
is
the
a
awnings.
total, it's a totally different color than all the
You're
others.
right, on the Photoshop, they didn't change that to
But
get it
it
to
says
match.
it's, if I am reading it, and I may not be, it says it's color A, or it's number A, which is
Is the 10YR 6.5
5, which is the very dark.
the darkest, that's correct. So the
But
band.
that's not going to be on the walls.
No, that's
No.
correct. The walls is the 10YR 7.4.
Okay.
But so the band is going to be this very, very dark bronze,
All
Instead
the
of-
bands will match, I guess is what I'm
including the
trying to
band
say.
in the center.
Correct. All
Okay.
the bands and the awnings, and the windows and door frames. I believe they're all intended to,
Yeah,
Busy.
it's busy.
On A4, if you go through all those Munsell colors, there are 5 different colors.
that's because they failed to take out the star, the decorative star. That was the
Oh,
one
okay.
that had a color on it,
Yeah.
and we had to take that out.
Okay, so it's gone.
It's very, very busy with all the stripes, with all the bands. It's got they'll have 3 bands of this dark blackish looking color. Then it's also gonna have the lighter color on top and a darker color on the bottom.
Do you see that, David?
Yes, I'm sorry, I've been kind of focusing on the landscaping. When this, I'll have some comments on the trees.
Multitasking.
What,
I just think it's very, very busy. I mean, I know that we have had one recently that we had the same issue with.
Yeah, a lot of different colors.
yeah, the bands.
In
The deal is on
contrast.
the bands with the darker bands at the top, and then it matches the awnings, and then again on that middle band, it's gonna be one of those 2 colors you're saying on the wall.
It's gonna be
No.
this color.
It's gonna be the same color as the top band. So all the awnings, all the door frames, all the bands will all match. That's not
What's
good.
misgiving here, I think, is that the bottom color and that thicker band that goes through the mid-waist of the building, I think are supposed to be the same color.
But it actually says that that band that goes through the middle is this color, this very, very dark color. The 10-year 6.5.5.
Oh.
So it's really just stripes of almost black.
Oh, so it's not the,
1, 2, 3.
so it's not the body
No,
stucco
no.
color?
Yeah, that's what I thought
If
too.
it were the body, I would feel differently about
Yeah,
it.
me too.
Yeah, yeah. I
Till
think
call
that
it,
would be
yeah,
better.
till y'all, you picked that out. And then you got the band right here above the door, you know, it's just,
You see the contrast in these pictures of that center band?
yeah, it did.
It's gonna be even more contrast than
contrast.
what's in these photos.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Well, it's the same color at least, not another color.
It's just busy. It's just really busy.
And if you could eliminate that band in the middle, it'd be nice.
Or if they just made it match the color below it.
That's what I was saying,
Yeah.
yeah, it matched it, you know, that's what I asked him
Keep
earlier.
the
if
band,
it's the
but
same color.
match the
Just
color.
match that band to the color of the bottom color, then
Well-
your accents would be there more, it'd be more, you know.
It would have more visual order.
Yeah.
That's what the code requires.
There
And,
you go.
and then the downspouts, why not match that?
And that's in the back, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, just a quote from chapter 13, 13.03.02, architecture, paragraph 3, colors. There is a sentence that says, "Building materials and color selection shall achieve visual order through the consistent use of compatible color palettes." And
But it's
you all
not-
have used phrases like busy and
Yeah, visual order, we
we need
like
visual
that.
order.
Right.
But
right.
it's not just the back, it's also the freezer unit, which
The
is
freezer
attached.
unit is gonna be the same as the main body color.
Yeah, it's all one there in the back.
I have a question for
Okay.
you all.
Go.
Are we within a complicated motion of considering the project, or are we?
Well, I'd rather hear your
Facing
concerns first.
I don't think we're on a complicated, if our suggestions for the color is complicated.
We can make them requirements.
Yeah, but I'd,
Yes.
but I'd
Okay,
rather
so
hear your thoughts.
my comment has to do with, I was trying to wrap my head around the trees. And I reread to make sure I understood it. The requirement for understory trees, so we're talking about the 4 trees across the south part of the property on 98. 13.03.03, paragraph 1, includes the sentence, the total number of understory trees required within the scenic corridor setback shall equal 1 per 75 feet of US 98, or 331 frontage. Understory trees shall be planted in groups and shall have a minimum height of 8 feet and a width of 5 feet at installation. And here comes the rub. Spacing between understory trees shall be not less than 12 feet. I have created my own little paper scale here using the drawing, and the trees are much farther apart than 12 feet. Now, the way the code reads is we only get 4 because it says it shall equal 1 per 75 feet. So make a note, I'm going to suggest we change that to not less than instead of equal when we get to the end of the meeting. But so we
Okay.
got to deal with this for now. But I think that the trees that are spread, 4 trees spread out, actually the 3 on the eastern side need to be clustered not less than 12 feet apart. And I think it's a pity that we've got the other one that's kind of orphaned over here, but I don't read it that we can require more trees. So I'm going to suggest we have more trees, but they're,
David, if I can interrupt, there is a note. If you look under where it says understory trees,
yes,
and you see 4 eastern red bud,
yes.
below that it says spacing between understory trees shall not be less than 12 feet.
Well, they're shown graphically at about 25 feet apart.
I know, but, and you can disagree, but
Okay.
that note, to me, is
Well,
consistent.
it quotes the code, that's a good thing.
Is consistent with the code. I mean,
Yeah.
they have that note saying, because sometimes the plan doesn't represent what's actually going to be on the ground. I mean, you can disagree and make a
Oh,
condition,
great.
that's
We'll
fine,
make a
but
condition, yeah, we just have a graphic showing the trees planted
much further apart.
5 feet apart or so, as best I can tell. So I think
But
we
see,
need-
there's no maximum distance. It says not less than 12. It can't be less than 12.
It can be 10. It can't be 15 or 20.
It can't be less than 12.
Yeah, the code says it can't be less than 12. There's no maximum distance.
Okay, I'm sorry, I stand corrected. So, okay, I was reading that they needed to be 12 feet or less
No,
apart.
it can't,
Okay.
they cannot be less than
Okay,
12.
I guess this is fine then.
Because they don't,
What was causing me to read through this is that the landscaping plan is not natural looking on this project, and I'm looking for a way to require it to be more natural looking.
I agree. It's
But I
a
acknowledge-
very
I stand
challenging
corrected, yeah.
site, especially the internal circulation.
Yeah. Because we've lost the oak trees because of the power line deal, I'm just looking for a way to make the project look better from the front of the project. But you're right, I stand corrected. I was honing in on maybe clustering these trees tighter together.
Yeah, I think part of that, and I may be wrong, is if you put them too close together, they'll grow, and you can't see the front of the building. And we get people complaining, no one can see my building.
Well, yeah, but the landscaping is not designed, well, one of the things we've been talking about is trying to, in these workshops, is trying to make the landscaping in these projects look more natural.
Right, I agree.
We've culled out unnatural plants that are not native to the area, that type of thing. And so trees, when you go out in the woods, unless you're on a tree farm, they don't grow equally spaced.
That's true.
So in nature, they tend to be clusters of 3 of them, 5 of them, whatever. So
Yeah, you can always tell when they're planted because they're in rows.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but it is aesthetically pleasing when you do have a nice uniformity to it, and there's some, there is plants, and it's got some greenery, and it's not a bunch of dead weeds and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So,
Absolutely.
that's
It's okay. Well, we can only require what the code says, so I will stand corrected that the trees don't have to be clustered together. But
Yeah, I think what they're talking about is when you use crepes or wax myrtles, they have multiple trunks. So when they say they'll be planted in groups
yeah,
and be 8 feet, that's because they have multiple trunks. It doesn't say that. I think that's what it means.
understory sheets will be planted in groups. This is where I am on the right track.
Yeah.
The reason you plant things in groups is because that's the way they naturally grow. They grow in groups. They don't grow evenly
Right.
spaced.
That's right.
And again, I was maybe over eager, so I read the 12 feet the way I wished it was read. But, again, yeah. So,
It's human nature.
so we have the right number, and I will acknowledge that. But that was my comment, Lee.
All right, there you go.
You can always
Now,
make suggestions,
Yep.
take it or leave it.
that's a suggestion, and then on the other one,
On the colors, are we just, because we do have a couple other items, do we want to
I
try to
think we're
craft a
ready.
motion that covers this? or-
yeah, you wanna,
I'd be glad to second whoever makes that motion.
Jerry, you know what you want, right?
Gerald, you got it?
This is,
Is there only one A band? Is that? No, it's not. There's more than one A band.
There's two ignorants.
It's two A bands.
Yes,
But same problem there. So
One, two.
is it just this large waistband that we're talking about?
Yeah,
Not the thin.
No, correct.
well, the two A's are,
Yeah, this
Here.
one.
I would think that would look okay,
This.
but the
And
large
here.
one in the middle.
Yeah, the one on the tower over at the canopy where the
Yeah,
canopy hooks
that-
up. I think is
That looks okay with the name, with the logo and all up there. I mean, it kind of gives it a little bit of definition.
And it's still, and it's only two colors on that. The
Yes.
other part of the wall already
Has
has,
three.
Yeah.
that's
Or,
three
well,
colors.
actually it has,
Yeah.
yeah.
And multiple lines.
But that would be a good recommendation.
I think the wording is the large 2-inch thick ephes band that divides the stucco colors between the light and the darker needs to be changed.
and again, just from my understanding, what is it that's driving the need for one of the bands to be a different color than the rest?
Because in that area you have 1, 2, 3 colors.
And if you
All
saw it with the actual band, the color that it
Oh, that's right.
intended to be,
It's,
it would actually merge with the awnings themselves. The awnings are that same color. So respectfully, in my opinion, I think it would look uniform. I think that's, and not in disorder.
but it's so dark, and I think that we're already having difficulty with it, how dark it is here
Uh-huh.
in the illustration.
Right, and like,
And it's not even being represented as dark as it really would be. It would be actually darker.
actually, it looks kind of black in the picture, but the actual paint chip is more of
Gray?
has a little more gray tone to it. So I think it'll actually be lighter.
I think it looks.
No, the one in the
exactly
picture is actually kind of like a deep brown.
like brown.
Oh, right, yes, right. Yeah.
Right. So in reality, it would actually be darker than
That-
what we're looking at.
That's correct.
It
You're
just
right.
And I,
chops
and I
up the
think we're
building.
just having a hard time having that big swipe, such a large area swipe go through the horizontal
Okay.
element.
Well, if anything, it would look better if it was the same color either way, if we're gonna do that.
And would the motion be to have this changed and move the project forward, assuming this gets changed? Is that?
Yes, we're putting a motion together to
Sure.
approve it with the requirement of that change.
Get that changed,
Yes.
okay.
And if, I have a question here. If this goes along here, does it need to continue on this one where they removed the stars? Does it matter?
I wouldn't,
No,
I'd leave it off.
it looks fine, yeah, it looks fine. Look at this side, yeah,
Mhm.
it looks
A
fine.
little bit less busy.
Is that the only place where that, no, it wraps around the other side too,
On each side in the back.
over there.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so the motion would be to approve the Hardy Santa Rosa Beach project as submitted, with the one requirement of changing the large 2-inch ephes color to match the ephes body immediately below it.
Do you want to do the color around?
Do you want the color on there?
Which would be the Munsell color 10 YR 7/4.
All right.
Second.
There's your motion, there's a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I make an observation, and I read this twice to make sure. We are supposed to get color elevations.
We are supposed to what?
Get
Yeah.
color elevations.
Yep.
So,
That would be
in
good.
the same paragraph I read from earlier on color, it does say color drawings of the building elevations shall be submitted with color chips, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Does help, doesn't it? Okay, next.
Just to make sure, I got that, Gerald made a motion to approve with condition that the center right band around the building separating the top lighter color from the bottom darker color be changed to match the Munsell 10 YR 7/4 on the bottom of the building.
That's correct. Okay, next on the agenda is Miramar Beach Mattress Firm color deviation.
Yes, thank you. This is for their awnings. It's not for the whole building. As you can see from the staff report, I wrote it up in a positive manner because there are other awnings out there, but with the caveat that most of those should have been done prior to the new Munsell color requirement, other than Carrabba's. Carrabba's, I know, went up after this. Theirs aren't too gaudy, but they are orange to match their sign, the Carrabba's sign. So, I mean, you know, it's a determination of the board, but I wrote this up in a positive manner because there are other brightly colored, not necessarily red, but brightly colored awnings on the scenic corridor.
I thought we didn't like it.
We don't.
All
I
right.
don't.
Okay.
Any questions on this one?
Does it make a difference which sequence we do these in?
Well, the deviation has to come before the project. You
Okay,
can't-
because the project is submitted with the deviation.
Right, it's the
Yeah,
next
okay.
on the agenda, but you
All right.
can't
Understood.
approve the project as presented unless you approve the deviation.
Okay.
I understand why this is part of the deviation.
Mm-mm.
I think it's supposed to be,
In the next one.
yeah.
And we no longer have the proposed elevation of what it would look like.
We do, but it's in the next one,
Oh,
right here.
And the parapet's been fixed, it looks like?
That's part of the next
Okay.
item.
Okay.
I think we have
Thank you,
to
Lee,
focus
for
on
keeping me
the
focused.
deviation first, and then,
That's next on the list. So so this is what we're talking about here, this red umbrella?
yep. Desire to approve this.
And no, it doesn't look like the parapet's been fixed.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
My name is Jim Barton. I'm with Seaside Engineering and Surveying, and I'm here to answer questions if you have any in regards to a deviation request.
All right, Jim, what,
This is pictures of the projects within the vicinity that have red awnings. And unfortunately, this is wall sections behind it. I hope it's not too confusing. But this project, and this project, although it doesn't have red awnings, this one actually has black awnings. But that's, would be a deviation also. This has green awnings, and that darker the green would require deviation also. This project, these are all within a mile of the proposed project, save this one right here, the kitchen and bath, which is just this side of 38. But this project right here is directly across Highway 98 from us. I believe that project right, would have been built since the code was written.
Yep.
So I didn't take pictures.
That's the old beach bums.
Yeah.
So that wasn't
is that
built.
the old beach
And
zone?
that may be true. But the one thing that I noticed having to drive back and forth so many times and delivering things,
Mhm.
there is not many projects that would meet that code in regards to
Mhm.
awning colors. The one thing that's confusing too is the fact that if it's standing seam roof or if it's tiled, it doesn't seem like those materials have to meet that code. And so if you have a standing seam roof that's, say, green, they build awnings out of the standing seam material, and those don't meet that code either. So you're almost penalized when you're using fabric awnings
Mhm.
as opposed to a standing seam material for your awning coverage that is, say, matching your roof that doesn't fit the muscle code in the near neutral slash. So it doesn't seem quite fair, to be honest with you. And in y'all's workshop, y'all maybe can discuss that. But we would appreciate to be able to do what is directly across the street. If the awning's colors is to complement the building, if we add the building across the street, it definitely does. And it actually is very much in line with what is out there. And like I said, this one, and this one are within a mile of us.
Yeah. Well, any,
I just, we have certain colors that we've chosen for a reason, and because there are things out there that don't meet those colors, I think that my concern is I think we should be trying to address things as they come up to make them closer to the code rather than to say because people in the past have done something that will grant a deviation.
right. Yes, Wayne?
Last meeting, I think you brought the same issue up with some of the neighboring properties and their compliance and non-compliance. We did send code enforcement to look at those. What we found is the majority of those have been there for a number of years prior to our code being adopted. I think there's one that was not, and we've been addressing that one, I believe. So,
Yeah.
And they did not have approval to have the awnings that were the wrong color?
I believe so.
The one that you're addressing?
That you're addressing?
Yes.
It-
But now, there's others out there that have been there for many years and that
Yeah.
predates this, and they're considered grandfather, we can't make them
Yeah,
take it down.
That's how the
When
code
it's
works.
destroyed, when it's removed,
Right.
then they
Yep.
come into compliance. Right?
yeah.
Right.
And, yeah,
But
that's,
I would
And I can
add,
tell you, the non-conforming section is something that we deal with you know, you can adopt a new code, we can't force people prior to that code going into effect to comply.
Right.
That's just how that
Yes.
process works.
But we can try to fix it on a go-forward basis,
Right.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's where
But how far back was it when that code's been in effect for years?
We went, I mean, customers went out there, we had a file for it, be glad to share it with everyone to see it, the ones that we looked at.
I mean, I meant, when was that code, the color code?
I believe it was '07.
Oh, it's got to be
I
far back.
believe it's '07.
Yeah, it was '07, because I was on the board then. Yeah.
But, you know.
I remember, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
But, so that, you know, I mean, in every community, you're gonna have buildings that don't look the way you want them to look because they predate that. That's just part of the process, and, I think going forward, we're trying to make sure that complies
Yep.
now, so.
Yep.
Just my 2 cents worth.
Yeah,
Thanks.
And if I may,
In front of the building official.
Pardon me?
I said an argument about following the code your neighbor followed wouldn't work in front of Billy Beard himself.
No,
but there is some reason to have a deviation application. I mean, why would you have an application for deviation if you can't get deviation?
that's true, that's true.
Well, there are certain criteria you have to meet to qualify for a deviation,
I understand.
and it's this board's purview to decide if it
Oh,
does.
I understand.
And usually it's more of an architectural than it is, and sometimes color, I guess, but still.
Well, and it's an unusual situation.
True.
Almost every case that we have a deviation is an unusual situation. This does not seem unusual to me in any way.
So what's the recommendation? Go back and bring us another color?
Yeah, I can't approve. I can't vote to approve this color.
We have the question in front of us then. Do we want to deny it or continue it?
So do you want to deny or continue? Continue?
Could we,
Sure.
is it
Happy
fair
to.
to ask the applicant if he is willing to consider a more subdued color?
Well, the alternative is, and I have it in the next staff report, if the deviation isn't approved, then he comes back with an approved color. I mean, that's the alternative. You make
And you
a
can approve that
condition-
administratively.
And you can-
Well, you all make a condition, yeah. He'd have to bring me a drawing after you all, if you all approve it with a condition of it has to be an approved color, then they have to provide me with a color rendering of the approved color. And I can move
Understood,
forward.
but if he were to bring back a color on the existing approved Munsell colors,
Doesn't need a
he
deviation.
would need a deviation, and therefore the project could go forward without coming back to us.
Yes.
And that's why I was gonna ask the applicant, if the applicant would still like us to consider a deviation, but what I would describe as one that's not so extreme, we can continue this.
I actually have a color, an
An
alternate color,
I suspected that might be the case.
one that meets the Munsell code.
So you want to make
Would you
a
like to-
motion?
But,
Yeah, I would
Okay.
like to see it.
having said that, no, I wish I hadn't said that. But the truth is I wanted to cover the basis if you did not rule in my favor in regards to those colors. Now, I have to tell you this, if you look at the colors and you turn around and look at the flag, those colors are the same that's in, it's Old Glory Red. Now, I don't want to hurt your feelings now being patriotic, but
Well, I'm sure Mr. Davis and Mr. Dice could advise us on whether or not we can revise the colors of the flag. We're not considering a color on the flag.
I'll put a flag up, go right here.
I would say that does not help the case.
No.
oh, that doesn't help my case?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right, so what do we need to do here? We want to make a
Well,
motion?
if you don't mind, I'll just ask the applicant. You mentioned, sir, that you were considering an alternate color. Are you prepared to present that to us this evening?
Yes, I am.
Well,
We're ready.
we're all
But-
eyeballs.
It was a matter of procedurally coming for the deviation. We're on the agenda for the next.
Yes, sir,
next
understood.
thing. So-
But we're still in play here to
Yeah.
approve an alternate color.
Color.
Well,
And I would ask,
I mean, you either have to approve or deny the deviation because.
Do we have to approve or deny this particular color red?
Yes, because that's the request. He's requesting that color, so you have to either, because if he's giving you a Munsell color, he doesn't need a deviation. It's a moot
Understood.
point.
Well, okay, let me just be clear, and then I'll make a motion. Is the alternate color a color that is approved already by the code?
Yes, it is.
Okay, then we don't, okay, in that case,
But
Then we can
it's
approve.
not the color that we want, that.
Well, that's
Understood.
irrelevant at this point.
I
We're going to either
understand,
but-
approve this
Doesn't match the
deviation or we're
building
going
color.
to.
there's no reason to continue
Disapprove
this.
this deviation.
is my point.
So what we say, we're going to say
Jerry has
motion.
a point or.
But just because it's in the Munsell book doesn't mean it's approved.
No, but we're
So-
we're denying this color.
That's the motion
deviation.
I'm about to
That's-
make.
Okay, that's
And
what
then
I just didn't want to
the
I'm
waste
trying to
everyone's
ask for
time.
one. I'm trying to get there.
May,
Yeah.
may I ask one question? Then my understanding is that it has to be within the near neutral color levels of the Munsell Code.
It has to be, by my
There's a
understanding,
specific list.
On the
Because
list
this
of
color
colors.
is in the Munsell Code.
Well, I know it's in
The
the
red.
red. My reference was to the colors that are listed in 13.03.02.
Yes,
There.
those are the near neutral.
yes.
There you go.
But just
Mr.
because,
Brown can help you with.
but just
that
because
part.
it's on that list doesn't mean it is automatically approved.
No, but
Correct. It has to match the
It has to
building.
It
be-
does have to match the building, yes.
But
that's-
but will we be approving or considering that in the next item? If we deny this deviation and he's prepared to present a new color that does meet the code, we'll be considering that.
In the next
In the
item,
next
yes.
item,
And
as
you-
part of
And then
that.
y'all can decide whether you feel that's architecturally
Okay.
compatible.
That's exactly what I was
So,
trying to work
yeah,
through,
yeah.
yes.
because he's got his colors of his building here, so we can go ahead and put that in.
Yeah.
So I move to deny the deviation request.
Second.
Second, we got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion
So
carries.
David seconded?
Yes. Leave you to it.
I just hurried it.
She mean, I've been trying to get there for 5 minutes.
See where I was going, I didn't want to.
Yes, exactly. I did see where you were going. And it was a good question. I had the same question.
Okay, next.
Okay, the next item is the actual Miramar Beach Mattress Firm project. And as far as the staff report, the following item is deficient. The color for the proposed awnings is not an approved Munsell color. So since the deviation was denied, then he could be in compliance with the scenic corridor requirements if he provides a Munsell approved color and the board approves it.
Understood.
Got it.
Okay.
I have these alternates here.
Would you,
Oh, I'm sorry. Here.
Am I reading this correctly, that the building actually fronts Ponce de Leon versus 98
The front of the building does face towards
Ponce?
Thank you.
So you're gonna see the back of the building from 98,
That's your favorite thing, isn't it?
clearly, yeah. It is.
Okie dokie. Now, this is, okay. So it's right next to the bike shop.
I am missing
Yeah.
the site plan somewhere. Oh, no.
It's the location next to the bike shop, the Yipper, yeah.
It's the only one I have that shows, I don't think
What
there
you
is a
got?
site plan.
Very first page behind the landscaping.
The landscaping tab, that's the closest I can find to the site plan. It just includes the landscaping, but it gets you there, I guess. Maybe.
By the way, we appreciate the inclusion of all the material that we have here to review.
Yep. Complete package.
Yes.
It's a complete package.
So,
Good job.
Just have a question.
And the trees are grouped.
And they are, yeah, I saw that on that
And it's
nice
not
color.
actually gonna look like that.
Yes.
I know, it's really,
You're gonna get
Really?
shocked.
This inside part will be flat.
All right,
I just couldn't, I didn't understand it from, yeah, I can't understand it from a picture.
Mm-mm. And these are the sides of the building. And this is the back
How do
and
y'all-
the front. And you have the same effect all the way around. It's like it's a little tower.
Yeah, and it's the same way here.
I don't get it. Why would you just have that little thing on the corner? Unless these renderings are not drawn correctly. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Because it doesn't,
So all of them.
Isn't even
so parapet in the back will hide all that. Don't you
You're
think?
talking like right here. It's cut off.
Doesn't have, I didn't see anything on the,
is U-shaped, so it will be that.
Each of the
They're gonna be flat.
facades has a
You sure?
parapet on it.
'Cause
The
this
one,
is the bigger one.
the one facing east,
Yeah, but it does turn, if you look at the roof plan.
is this one, well,
the
is
one
this
facing
one?
east has the big chubby parapet.
This is all a different color system.
You
So,
know,
so this would cover, well, that's the question to ask, if this covers the, mechanical units.
That's all I need.
It's a
Yeah.
nice, it's a nice sized parapet, it looks like, but that's,
but,
See this larger one? They actually do kind of
oh,
use it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, this one
I'm
does.
just talking about the ones on the corners.
They're actually not in the corners.
How is that?
See, they're
Oh,
back here.
they're inside.
Yeah, they're back here.
That's the trouble I'm having.
So
Where are they?
they are turning them a little bit.
Yeah, see, they're here and here versus out here, which is,
Oh.
it looks, okay, so that helps me.
Yeah,
There is return on the,
Make sure your conversations.
okay.
yeah.
What
there's
we're talking
return.
about are the,
The return, these
Yes.
return back, a small distance back, and
but the smaller ones, that look like, no, go on the other
The
side.
thinner ones, the
The thinner
one.
ones.
Down on the bottom,
Yeah.
those,
There,
yeah.
there, and on the other one, down the right, on the bottom elevation. No,
Yep, that's
Yes.
one,
the one right below, the elevation right below,
right there.
right there.
Right there, yes.
there's a return on the other.
Yeah, I don't think your elevation was updated since the last visit,
Yeah.
so it's not showing the return. You're showing the
On the
thin,
roof plan.
yeah, the elevation is not showing it.
So,
If it didn't have return, you wouldn't see this wouldn't look like this.
Yeah,
You
oh,
wouldn't-
that
you
is
wouldn't
the
see
return,
corners
he's
coming around
narrow.
but it's just a,
in the back.
yeah, you're just showing the one width of the wall at like 8 inches, and the elevation has not been updated to show the return going back. It looks like about another 8 inches. It's just not accurate. I'm just saying it's not accurate.
I don't see how you would.
Because you can see the width of the wall. It's about 8 inches. If there was a return, then the wall would be thicker. You would see a thicker element there.
yeah,
Doesn't come down, but that level.
All right, the main thing is,
Yeah, I think so. But I'm just saying the elevation's not showing, your roof plan is showing the return, the elevations are not showing the return. The cornice is returned, but the wall has not been returned.
Oh, you're saying, I thought you were talking about the corners, I'm sorry.
Well, does the wall have a return with the
No, wall
cornice?
didn't have a return.
Oh, well, that's not good.
And the roof plan and the elevations in the building sections, or the wall sections, don't match. They
Yeah.
all three show a different condition. The wall sections show cornice only on the front.
And that's true except where it has a small return.
Yeah, but the cornice is returned, but the wall is not returned.
I see.
It's a nice set of drawings, but.
So
yeah, exactly.
you're still going to see the backside of
Take that
the, we're t- these elements here.
At this higher level, this is.
Yeah, they're all sticking above the plane of the lower parapets, and so you will be seeing those portions of the backside of the walls, according to your elevations.
Yeah, which questions were there?
But I think that the concern was that let me go back to you. I thought that the current concern was that before the membrane went up. And the question, when we were discussing that, was that the stucco needed to be come down to a lower level on these higher level parapets. So and behind it, you would be seeing stucco, not the membrane. That's what our discussion was last meeting.
Right. Will we still see membrane going up the backside of those parapet walls?
Shouldn't. Because
I
this
just
is
think it looks terrible.
stucco down below.
I'm just not seeing so.
Does the wall
I agree that
section?
that's what the elevations,
That's what your
Now
elevations
show,
show, but
but
it's
the
not
wall
what your wall
sections-
sections
Wall
show.
sections don't show that.
membrane going up.
There was the unit search drawn where there was revisions on the wall section.
I see that, but it doesn't look like it's addressing the concern. You mean
Oh, I
these
see.
little-
Here we
these
go.
little sections?
On the very large parapet, it looks like the thick one. See the stucco coming down?
And the same way your addition on the upper level.
Okay, where is that? Yeah.
I think it's 4 years.
So it's,
A2, A5, C.
Look into that.
Those sections do not show stucco.
Which one?
All the
Sections 1 and 2 on A5A. Oh, sorry, A5C. Where is A5C?
Yeah, there's A5, A, B, and C.
yeah,
Okay, yes, you do.
there's your bigger one, there's your two small
There,
ones.
there is stucco. On A5C.
The stucco was added to the upper level, the parapet's upper level. parapet.
Okay, so stucco is shown, but the cornice detail that's shown on A4A and A4B, Jerry doesn't agree with
The elevations, the way they're drawn does not match the way they're drawn in the wall sections. But if you look at the detail,
I see the revision cloud.
not the revision cloud, it's, you talking about how thick the top of the cornice is? Is that what you're
Well,
talking about?
A5A, wall section 3, there's a revision cloud, what looks like, my eyeballs are struggling, but looks like revision note number 1.
And if you look at
Shows it flashing and then,
on A5C, sections 1 and 2, the revision cloud shows the stucco behind on the back side of the,
on the upper portion of the parapet.
yes.
Yeah.
A5C does.
Yeah, float finish stucco over CMU wall. Okay, so the visible portion has it, but unlike and I don't have a problem with this, unlike the elevations, there is no foam cornice doodad on the backside, which I don't think there needs to be.
Well, he's claiming that that cornice will return in such a way where you will see that. It'll
I think
dress up the.
So that's what we're seeing on the roof plan.
That's
That's,
correct. That's what
Yep.
this little part is right here. That's the return.
Okay, I see what it is. All right.
so that's the back side that's facing the east.
It will
So just at the corner, it
kind
wraps
of,
around
around
it'll
and
kind of wrap
stops.
around and then it'll go back a certain
Okay.
distance on the back and stop.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I just happened to notice on my way here that that's exactly the way Walmart is.
What is?
Walmart.
Walmart,
Walmart.
the new Walmart.
Understood, okay, that was helpful.
Yeah.
So
So-
Jerry, is that satisfactory, or you,
Yes, as long as we don't see flashing and
Yep.
roofing membrane on the backside,
Your
it's been,
mechanical.
it seems to be addressed.
You got your mechanical up there too, so it's gonna be
Yes.
covered? Okay, all right. All right, landscape.
Were there space constraints that kept from being able to orient the front of the building toward 98?
Well, we gave them an alternate to face in the other direction. They preferred this orientation. This is same in orientation as the bike shop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so the front.
Yeah, see, this is 98. So when you're coming down here, you're gonna be looking right into the back of the building.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
that.
What's the
How
name
did I
of that
miss
mattress
that?
place
That's
that's
what
just
I'm
down
concerned about.
just around
Yeah,
the
I don't-
corner?
Depot, I think, mattress.
Is that
Depot.
Mattress Depot?
That's the ones I've had pictures of. They're the ones with
Yeah,
the
that
red.
one with red awnings,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's dawned on me.
There's actually 4. I don't, my wife and I have been married 40 years. We just got our second set of mattresses
I don't see how.
a year or so ago. I don't know, outside of maybe commercially, they sell a lot of mattresses. I don't see how 4 within a mile stay in business.
I don't
Me neither.
either. But they are popular.
There's a sleep center, and Mattress Now was the one with the black awnings.
Mm-hmm.
The sleep center has red awnings,
Mhm.
and the other one
Depot.
had the green awnings.
Mattress Depot.
Mattress Depot has the red awning.
All
They're
right.
all within a mile of this place.
That's crazy.
All right, on the landscape, I don't see, let's see. All right,
Uh,
1, 2, 3.
I missed that, so this last time. I did not know that the building was oriented. The front of the building's not even oriented toward the street. It's actually oriented away from 98. We see more of the back than you see of the front.
That's right.
Now, you're gonna see, a lot of
Like
that's
it.
blocked by the bicycle shop.
But still, the fact remains that the front of the building is actually more on the north side, and the back of the building is more on the south side.
I cannot for the life of me figure out why they would want to do that. That's
Well,
insane.
Is that the? Yep.
I don't think that's right.
They can only have 2 signs, correct? So they're gonna have,
You got 3 sides, well, yeah.
so
And you
one
come
side,
in at the back.
or you enter from Ponce.
Ponce.
No, can you
No.
enter from Ponce?
No, you can't.
There's no,
No, you just come in from the back.
oh, how
That's where
weird.
the,
That's awful.
Come in from the same road that you come in from with bike shop?
Crazy.
Yeah, it's shared access.
Mhm.
It
Shared
is.
access. Huh. Well, there you go.
God.
they're showing signage on 3 sides of the building.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen.
But not on the back. One of the signs is facing,
On the completely
Entirely away
opposite
from-
side of 98.
Facing north.
Yeah, I don't
The
know if
retention
there's-
pond.
I don't know that there's a need for that one,
Yeah,
unless the people in that subdivision back behind them.
I'd say save their money.
Yeah.
Or the aggravation of not.
Well, I
getting
mean, if it
approved.
covers the, it's, I mean, we obviously have buildings that have
This isn't right.
part of it backside showing and part of the front showing.
This is weird.
Landscaping's there for what you have on 98,
Yep.
so that's,
It's sure not gonna cover the,
Where says the bike.
So see anything else?
Shop starts.
Got landscaping, lighting plan, let's
Is
go
this
to,
the-
I mean, trying,
I guess it says one-story metal building, so
Mhm.
that must be it.
Mhm.
Oh, I think this is, we're gonna end up with an abandoned building.
No kidding.
Oh,
So now what?
What is the dashed
That's
line
that's
running
gonna
through
be
the
their
center of the
view
site?
from their
The
shops
dashed
down
line?
the road.
There's a line that, there's two dash dot lines that run down the center of the driveway between the parking bay.
that's the power lines.
That may be the answer to why the building's oriented the way it's oriented.
Yeah.
Well, there is an easement, a power line easement here, and within inside the power line easement, there is a water easement. That's what these dash lines are.
Okay. That's just,
So the
in terms of
power
answering the
lines-
question of why is the building oriented this way, I have a suspicion that the building's a
It
standard
does
shape
have,
and
that does have, play into it.
So that's why it's gotta be that way.
Does it have to be
it
that
doesn't
way?
have to be.
He
Yeah, I
said
don't
he
think that
had-
has to be
Just,
that way.
he said he
Presented
presented an
another
option,
plan.
so.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we did a layout. Now, the layout that was done with it turned this way didn't have this backside drive. Before, it was a fire department issue that we needed to have, the drive, a circular motion for them to be able to get in and out. And when the layout was done, turned this way, it didn't have that, drive all the way around. So I don't know exactly if it would have worked or not, turned the other direction.
What's the dimensions of the building?
They're 80 by 70. It's really 80 feet and 8 inches by 70 feet and 8 inches.
So, how would they, it would make more sense for the building to face 98.
Much more.
Yeah.
But if that sounds like it's a foot off, the fire department says no because it's about a foot off. I mean, it's almost a square building.
It's 10 feet. 10 feet.
10 feet off?
Well, it's 10 feet. It's 10 feet different in
In the
one
length and the
direction
width.
than the other.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was 80 by 70. So what I was saying is, when we did the layout with the building turned this direction, it didn't circle all the way around. I don't know how. I didn't even look to see how it would work, because once this was submitted and then approved after we made the circular drive with TRC.
We don't have fire here to get the absolute answer, but typically they won't back up. They don't
Yeah.
want to put the fire truck in a position where they got to back up.
That's exactly what it was.
Right.
So is this a cookie cutter plan? They give you, here's the building, position it on the site?
You know, I think they do have a prototype, but when I was looking I looked all over everywhere trying to see about these parapets and how they would work. There's one very similar in Pensacola, that's new, but it's slightly smaller. So I assume that they have some prototypes, sizes. But what I noticed was when I was going from place to place to see, going street views to see how they looked and with the parapets and if I could see over it and that sort of thing, a lot of the mattress firms were originally built in like strip centers, you know, as not as a standalone.
So you didn't have to worry about it.
So there is a standalone one in Destin, a new one, but it's different, a different configure, different coloration, different.
Yeah, I guess I'm not asking about the parapets and colors more or less. I'm asking about, is there any reason why the front of the building, I'm not saying turn the building, I'm saying why couldn't the front door be positioned facing 98?
Oh,
With it sitting exactly where it sits now.
that I am, and I apologize. I don't know. I do know that the one in Pensacola looks like this, except a smaller footprint. Whether or not you're meaning, could they open and change the doors over
Right,
here? That's
right.
sort of-
Yeah, and then position the rear doors or rear of the building to the north side away from Highway 98 instead of being facing the access street that, I mean, your neighbor over there is the bike shop. They're going to be looking at the back of your building.
But Ace Hardware is looking at the back of their building. Because the back of the bike shop is there. It's kind of hard to say something, complain about looking at the back of somebody's building when you're building this.
Well,
Well, yeah, it's not about complaining.
it's, yeah, that's what was done in the past, and I think we're trying to figure out how to make
But
things.
what I would say is the orientation of the building, if that's something that comes before design review board, that should have been something that came up a long time ago. I mean, in TRC or somewhere.
Well, we're not saying it doesn't meet
The
code.
board has broad discretion when it comes to aesthetics. There's nothing in the code that says you have to orient your building toward 98. But you all, as a board, have broad discretionary authority when it comes to aesthetics. So it's not something we could say at TRC. It's not something that staff is going to approve. It's something that the design review board is going to approve.
But is that design? Okay, I'm not going to argue that.
What, so what we're trying to grasp here is if there was a way to turn the building, everything else seems to be in order. But, and again, you're right, the bike shop next door has some landscape that's covering that corner of the building, and it's matured, so it really kind of hides that wall, and you don't really pay any attention to it. Probably the same thing's gonna happen here. It would be, I mean, me as a business owner, if I was a business owner, I'd kind of rather have my store
Yes.
facing the 98 corridor, not facing Ponce de Leon in a vacant lot. But, that being said, I'm not the owner, and as long as everything looks in order for our review,
In those new plans.
I mean, the landscaping, they've got the tree on the corner, they've got the underbrush, they've got, what do they got there, live oak,
But we're still looking at the side of the building.
still looking at, yeah.
I mean, it's-
But then you got the windows and all right there. I don't know. That's where a sign will go there and a sign will go here. Nothing there and nothing there.
It's a tough one.
It's, well, the design of the building's nice. And landscaping, got live oaks, crepe myrtles. Got a couple southern magnolias, silver palmettos.
It's gonna take a lot more height to ever screen the back of that building.
Yeah,
than what
for
they've
that
got
building right
planted
there.
here.
And then you got the mully grass, David's favorite. Ligustros, where's the ligustros? Over this corner.
David Bailey, do you have any thoughts?
Okay.
You're so silent.
Tim, we have a question for you. Is signage on 3 sides of the building okay? I know we're not approving signs. but
Yes,
since the drawings-
what we've done as a policy, the code really doesn't say it. If you can see the sign from 98, we'll allow it. So, like the Copper Grill, which is no longer there, but it has signs on 3 sides, and that's why, because you can see the signs from, you can see 3 sides from 98, so we allowed them to have 3 signs.
Does,
Retail therapy.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, the-
another example. You can see all 3 of those signs from Highway 98.
Well, if they can have
This
3
one you
signs, I
couldn't.
think the sign that faces,
There's one on the north side.
Terms here, the northeast facing sign doesn't make any sense. It faces completely away. It's not visible at all
Yeah, this one here.
Yeah.
from
Yeah, and we
98.
wouldn't allow it
We're
if it doesn't,
Yeah.
if you can't see it from 98,
Do
you
we
can't
think it
have
would
it.
be a good idea to have it, sorry, Tim, do we think it might help the rear of rear of the building to look less like the rear of the building if it has a sign on it?
It might, but I wasn't under that impression that just because you can see all 3 sides, we got tons of standalone buildings up and down 98 that you can see all 3 sides of the
I
building.
think we did 2 sides. I think that, wasn't it 2 sides that they could put it on? Not,
Well, that's what the code
I mean,
says.
there are some unusual ones.
For
with
as long as
3,
I've
but-
been here, we've done the deal where if you can see it from But the code says if you're on two roads, you're on a corner lot,
Right.
you can have a sign on each corner.
Yeah, because I know across the street at Gian, we approved that one for this owner now to continue that two sides.
Because he's on two
Because
roads.
you're on two fronts right there on 98.
Yeah, the only ones that come to mind is the Copper Grill and Retail Therapy.
Yeah.
But that was the rationale we
They
used to
were-
approve them, as you can see all these signs from 98.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you apply that rationale widespread, you're gonna have buildings with 3 signs all over the place. I wasn't getting the impression that,
Well, I mean, we've only had those 2 requests. I mean, they're the only 2 out there of all this. I mean, I'm
So we hunted
approving
on
those
2 signs for this building?
signs all the
We
time.
headed for 2 signs on this building?
I
Yeah.
think so.
Okay, we made some progress. We're not gonna approve 3 signs. Uh,
Not if you can't see it from 98.
In actuality, that,
If you can't see it from 98, you can't have
there's
it.
no sense in wasting your money, like I said
No.
Okay,
earlier.
and should we pose the question to Mr.
Legal?
Attorney, since he's
Yeah.
here? Is it within our purview to be able to comment on the orientation of the front of the building?
I think architecturally, it's an issue if you feel architecturally it is not consistent with the design review order standard intent, then yes, you can. Now, Tim's right, there's nothing in the code that says it must face 98, but if you think it looks, I mean, that's your baby.
The first-
If
yeah.
it looks out of place in terms of how it would fit in the corridor, then yes, listen, I fight this, I don't know, who's the architect here? I fight this battle with architects on school buildings all the time. I don't know why, but they will turn away
Oliveri.
from the front, away from the road. We have this fight kind of build a school building, so I understand what you're talking about. It looks weird to drive into the side of the building. It looks weird. Now,
Well, and I think it's very seldom that you see the back of a building look good from a road view standpoint. I mean, this one looks okay in the rendering.
what you end up
If
with.
it
a lot
had
of times
windows.
is parking lots
Yeah.
that are at backs of buildings that have issues
Right.
with aesthetics.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to bust on architects,
Well,
Hey, lawyers get it enough, so you can.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
We have lawyer jokes, so it's okay.
these guys are out in north of Tampa somewhere, so you
Well,
can
if
talk
it-
about them, and then you.
It'd be nice to reorientate it, but if you can't, well, it's not that you can't, whatever, our recommendation would be, you've got also Retail Therapy and Hardee's is the same scenario as these 2 buildings here. Retail Therapy's backside of that building is right next to Hardee's. I mean, not Hardee's,
Hardee's,
Walmart,
Whataburger.
Whataburger. So in this landscaping, it covers that we don't see. That's been there for 15 years or so.
Yeah, the ones you see, I mean, Bike Shop's been there forever too, hasn't it?
It's fairly, 10 years probably.
Yeah, well, it's backed up to one of its property lines, is why it's like that.
Yeah. So, what do we recommend?
Well, the applicants described some pretty significant restrictions on this particular site. I mean, it's got a 100-foot power line easement, it looks like,
Let
through.
me tell you, they are stepping out because this piece of property's got power lines, it's got easements all over it.
No
And
doubt.
it's hard to put anything in that piece of property.
It's
I thought it would never sell. To me, it would just be,
You got wetlands.
Yeah, I don't,
Here with 25-foot buffer.
I mean, if you can dress it up with a nice building like that and some good landscaping, I mean, those power lines are monstrous.
Well, what's going on here is that they have a rectangular plan,
Uh-huh.
and they're gonna go, I wanna buy that property, and I wanna put a rectangular plan on that property. And there's no architectural thought whatsoever as to, gee, what can I do? I've got a site with unique constraints, and I'm gonna design around those constraints instead of just forcing this
Yep.
block
Block in there.
into, I mean, that's what architects do. Is we're supposed to design with the conditions that are presented.
And it doesn't seem that it would take a lot. I mean, all you basically do is rotate the facades, and you've got it.
And it
But
could,
that's- But that's what he's saying, can they make it longer instead of wider? I mean, he said that was the difference, was that 10 feet.
Yes, I don't know, unfortunately, the answer to that question. If there's any architectural restraints in regards to that. If it was turned, we still can't get more than this many parking spaces here.
Right.
And if it's turned that way, then all the parking is facing the side of it. And in the entrance side, you don't have many spaces that would be right to the front of it.
But I
But you
think
would
what
have
Lee is,
entrance, you would have doors on either of those sides, but you wouldn't have a blank wall that's visible from 98. I mean, you could put doors.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
what you were referring to is leave the building orientation the same, you just rotate,
Right, that's what we've been trying to say.
not the
is just
building.
Move the
Right.
back to the
just
back.
move the door,
Yeah.
move,
Instead
You're
of
not
the back of the
rotating
side, move it to the
building,
back.
You're just
I know.
rotating
You're
the
right. When you-
facade.
That's exactly what I'm
But
saying.
he was saying before that it was the fire engines just
No,
can't.
no, the building
No, you're
stays
not.
in the same orientation.
Same
Okay, so
exact footprint.
let's rotate
we're
the
just taking,
facade.
we're gonna say,
Oh, oh,
okay,
oh.
we're gonna move the doors from this long side, we're gonna move the doors over here.
To the short side.
And then this windows on this side
Yeah, you just
are gonna
rotate the
move over
facade.
here.
Now we're practicing architecture.
I understand, but the only downside of that's what I'm talking about,
It's
only
only-
having four parking spaces with where you were talking about wanting to put the front door.
But parking alongside and behind a building is actually desired versus in front of it. So I don't
Yeah,
think
you
that's
get a,
necessarily a
you get a
negative.
parking bonus for that in 98,
Yeah,
98 scenic
yeah.
road.
Yeah, you do.
I understand.
And actually, you'll notice a lot of the businesses do have their parking on the
So
side.
let's just try to hone in on the fundamental problem is that if you look at sheet A4B, the southwest exterior elevation, that's the one that's the primary elevation facing 98. And it's got windows all the way across. That's the top one on the sheet.
Right.
It's got signage on it.
Yep.
The elevation below that is the one facing the retention pond, so we don't have a
That's
strong
correct.
opinion. We would take the
Yep.
signage off of it. I think our fundamental problem is that the lower elevation that faces northwest is a windowless, featureless, unless you
Correct.
consider scuppers and downspouts elevation. It also has a minimal amount of landscaping in front of it.
Yes.
That's
And
correct.
it is what everybody driving on, everybody looking at the building traveling east will see. The bike shop, and I think everybody, I know we're supposed to be careful about what we introduce, but I think everybody's aware the bike shop is a single-story building.
Mhm.
And this building is a very tall, single-story.
This section of the bike shop is upper level.
The very rear of it.
The rear,
right, right.
yeah. Let me,
The forward, at least half of the building is a
From
single-story,
that
fairly
far.
low single-story building. So
Yep.
I think our fundamental problem is that the northwest elevation of the building is one that we're not comfortable approving facing 98. Have I summarized that?
Yes.
Well,
So,
I feel it's wrong that we're actually, 98 gets to be addressed by the back, literally the back of the building.
because you,
understood, but fundamentally, it's not so much what the interior guts or even where the front door faces, because again, if you didn't know any better, driving by at a normal rate of speed on 98, I mean, let's say you're sitting in a common
Yeah,
traffic
that
jam on
does-
98, that wouldn't really bother me.
That does look like
Fundamentally.
the,
Right.
It's not, I mean, it looks just like the other side of the building minus one window bay.
you know, here's, yeah. go
But
ahead.
what I think everyone's hitting around is it's the northwest elevation. Regardless of which way the front door faces, the northwest elevation
that's
is causing
accurate.
us heartburn.
That's
Right.
accurate.
So, as usual, I'll just put it to the board. Are we in a position to continue to approve it? I don't sense that. I'm not willing to make a motion to approve it the way it's been presented. Are we in a mind to continue it and give the applicant a chance to address it, or we can ask him if he feels it can be addressed, or are we going to deny the project?
I'm open to continuing.
Me too.
Yeah, because let me just
I
add
think
one
the
other
rest of
thing.
it's good.
Yeah, this is, in a way, we were mentioning to turn, just leave the building as it is, but turn the windows and doors in different rotation. Your street just before that on the west end is called Geronimo. And Geronimo is getting ready to have a light put in there in about two and a half months.
That's right.
So it would behoove you or the client to make sure that they have that sign sitting on this side of those doors so they can see that that's Mattress Firm, and that not seeing the back end of that building, because those people sitting there at that light won't even pay any attention to it till they get past. That's coming from the west. East, you probably will see it, obviously, with the sign, but with the sign in the front and that visibility, you'll get a lot more attention to the building at that point in time, instead of the back of the building with some landscape.
Yeah.
You know, I will be, you know, talk with them to see, I don't know really what the ramifications, I know that here, if you look at the floor plan, there's restrooms here, and this is a loading area right here. So turning the building, I don't know that it can be done.
No, we're not talking about.
It's a matter of changing, see if they can change the
Right.
way this looks and how the door.
No, you're not picking up on our comment. Is it a,
He's-
is it,
he-
Robert, when you walk down there? Okay.
Yes, please.
Am I missing
A little bit.
I think
You're close.
if you look at this elevation of the building, this is what we have a problem with.
it? Yes.
On this side of the building.
Right.
And I'm now speaking for myself. This corner of the building, if this corner of the building looked more like that, we're getting better. Now, I don't know what's going on right here in the building. I suspect there's some sort of back of house storage area. So I don't know if it's possible you could get another window bay in here. You just described those restrooms back here, so that can't be addressed. But I mean, at minimum, I would think this corner of the building having the addition of a window, and that was why I was starting to talk about whether or not we could allow signage on this elevation.
Looks like they could do it.
Yeah.
But
Look at what
This
he's
is just a
holding.
big box.
It looks like
Yeah.
they could totally do that.
yeah, so this
Yeah.
is oriented this way. So absolutely, you've
This
got.
is where they put up the
You're
walls.
basically
It's back in the value zone.
changing
No, again,
You're not changing
we don't have an issue with that.
but you want this to look more
We have
like
an
this.
issue with this area
Yep.
of the building having some windows.
I get you.
That's what
You
we,
see-
yeah, what he just
You
said.
see those two
That's right.
groups of windows at the north?
Yeah.
Believe that?
If you could actually delete those and put them down there,
That way you're not increasing the cost of the project.
and then move the clustering of the landscaping that's hiding that corner up
To the bathrooms.
to that end,
Yes.
then I think we could
Which do.
be happy.
Bring your seal.
No, it's illegal to stamp drawings.
That would be a tremendous improvement to this.
Okay.
That would make a world of
That
difference.
would,
And then I haven't asked this question in a while, but if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Go for it.
Could you describe the schedule of this project for us, please?
Yes, it's scheduled to go before planning commission.
Once we approve it.
Oh,
If we approve it, yes.
it's scheduled to go to planning commission on the 13th, I believe.
Thank you.
Next week.
Yeah. My question has to do with your schedule of the project, the construction
Yeah.
schedule.
Is it time?
Is it
sensitive?
imminent?
Is it in?
Yes.
Well, I would say yes, but I don't know how they're going to take this.
Okay.
They've been pushing real hard to try to stay on schedule. I don't know if this will deter them or not.
Okay. This is a very complicated motion. Well, maybe it's not that complicated a motion. I don't know. Basically describing the deletion of some windows, the addition of some windows, and the
And they don't even have to
adjustment of
delete.
landscaping.
It's up to them as to whether they delete or not.
Yeah.
Just moving
That's a
them.
good point.
It's just a suggestion if they don't want to increase the cost.
it would be easy if they had a template of windows and doors, because the rear mimics the front, more
Mhm.
or less.
The base basing's
So-
exactly the same.
Worse, maybe instead of moving the two windows, sets of windows, maybe we just move one. And suggest repeating that window right there.
Mhm.
And so you would, and basically be repeating exactly that
Yeah,
portion.
a very nice corner.
Right there.
Mhm.
And then hide the rest with landscaping.
Mm-hmm.
That, I think it would be a very easy solution.
Huge difference.
Well, you do have a problem with diverting some of your roof drainage,
Yeah, and there's a downspout, I think.
but I don't think that's a big,
You run it across the building, it's flat on that elevation. You just run the downspout around it.
well,
Of course,
just that,
run it at an
that
angle
portion of that portion of the corner would have to be built up and diverted back.
Oh, yeah, you change the roof insulation.
You know.
Could you move a downspout to the rear?
Yeah.
I don't even think you'd have to move the downspout.
Mr. Applicant, we're honing in on something that is actionable.
I think that would be a very quick
Yeah.
change.
I tell you what, would you mind putting on here what you were.
All right, so I'm with you on that. So I think that's a good idea, just put it right here.
That makes a big
And they can
difference.
do
And
that.
my last question for y'all is if we're allowing two signs, and I know they're not coming for signage approval, we might as well give this feedback. Which elevations do the two signs go on? The two that are visible from 98?
The front and the side of the building that's visible from 98. If you do what Jerry's suggesting,
I'd put the sign on that back
You don't-
side.
well, I don't think you even,
Oh, you couldn't?
if he's saying landscape more,
Uh-huh.
the back 2/3 of the building,
Oh, don't do it there, okay.
you won't need signage back there.
And it's partially obscured by this bike shop.
Yep.
Okay, Jerry, you want me to try this, or do you?
He's drawing.
He's drawing, okay. I'll make a motion and, to
Alright,
match
go
what
for
he's
it.
drawing. I move the approval of the, goodness, what's the name of the project again? Mattress Firm, project number 15-001000097, with the following modifications. That,
Can I interrupt?
yes, sir.
I don't think you want to put that on staff, because if you're going to approve it, then it comes to me to look at it and I have to determine, yeah, this is what they want. I would suggest that you continue it, give him some feedback, and you guys look at it next month.
Okay. I'm very comfortable with that.
Me too.
Yeah, me three.
Okay, in that
All right.
case, I didn't finish that motion, so I'll
So let's ixnay that motion.
pull that one back, and I will move we continue the Mattress Firm project until our next meeting,
Which is September 3rd.
till September 3rd. And Mr. Applicant, have we given you sufficient feedback to understand what we're looking for?
I know.
Not to
We-
use on y'all, right?
So-
We got a motion.
All right, we have a motion,
I'm
guys.
gonna be using it on myself.
Motion and a second? Okay,
Somebody second?
Yeah, excuse-
I will.
please second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for working with us to keep
Tough lately.
98 pretty.
Keep American beauty.
Yes,
That's
sir.
right.
Yes,
At
indeed.
least Miramar and Santa Rosa Beach.
Did we want to give him any feedback on the awning color?
No, yeah.
Okay. No?
I just wanted to let
What you
Wayne,
talking about? You don't like it?
would you be,
do I?
Oh, this?
would your feelings be hurt if I
That
had a
color.
page disappear out of here?
I'd rather see something
That's fine.
burgundy, maybe. Hey, well, look, here's our new color palette.
We don't have a new color palette yet.
Yeah.
Not approved yet.
I know, but
I like the blend.
I would like some, to be honest with you, that you make a very valid
All right.
point. I don't wanna come again here and not have something that, and have to be continued to use.
No, we're not gonna do that to you.
I would say even something a little darker, but in the same color.
Right.
Just a little more
Family.
contrast. That blends
See,
in.
the problem is the darker's not gonna be in that neutral, near neutrals. Those two colors right there, of the lighter color, antique white, and that one is Jefferson tan, and Jefferson Tan, because I had to make them move up 2 value levels to meet that, in the near neutrals. So darker is, you can't go darker and meet that code.
Yeah, the palette is light, there's not many dark colors.
Understood, but that's why I was asking the,
But we've approved
Rest of the-
awning color deviations before that worked.
understood, and that's what I'm just saying, that
That was like 30 Avenue. That was a deviation.
And it looks good.
Looks good.
It doesn't
but I
draw
mean,
in.
if they're after a color in the spectrum of red,
Oh, yeah.
just
those
a
are great.
more,
Well, keep in mind, they're gonna put up a fire engine red sign.
yeah, it's a good point, okay.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen.
So, it's gonna pop
That's why
in.
I'm thinking if you remain in the brown
Should we
family,
suggest that he bring back 2 or 3 colors next?
I would do something in a darker brown, medium to
But if
darker.
a darker brown will take a deviation.
That's, we will approve a deviation that works with the building and works with the intent of the scenic corridor. We have darker awnings out there that we've approved,
You deny
but they work.
I know we denied the
We're talking
deviation for the
about-
bright red.
We're talking about next time for a different color.
But if you're on a deviation, it's gotta be advertised as a deviation.
He'll have to make another application.
You denied his application, that's the end of it.
Oh,
But he can make another application.
Yes, I mean, if you all
If
are,
they really want something other than,
We can reconsider anything until the meeting's adjourned, can't we? Isn't that Robert's rules?
Yeah, we don't follow Robert's rules, but
Okay.
you set your own rules if the chairman would allow.
We gotta do
motion
the chairman's
for you.
rules.
I would ask that
Chairman.
to let
Yeah,
the
that would
next
save them money.
person go, that's on your agenda, and, because I know I've taken up a lot of their time.
No, we're almost wrapped up, so.
We're almost wrapped up. We're
So
good.
don't you have another one on the agenda?
Yeah.
No, but we're almost wrapped up with this,
We're-
so, can we,
Yes.
can we do a continuance on the variance?
Yes.
On the
Yeah.
You'd
deviation.
have to
Remotion?
What I would
So on the
suggest,
prevailing side,
we don't follow Robert's.
we don't do that, okay. all
What
right.
I would suggest is that the chair would allow a motion to reconsider the deviation, to continue it rather than deny it.
Okay.
That would be a proper motion.
Mr. Chairman?
All right, let's, I will allow the continuance of the deviation.
We just need a motion of that.
Okay, I move that we, if you allow it, we reconsider the deviation to be continued rather than denied.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those
Now
opposed?
you need a motion to continue it. You've
Now-
done the reconsideration. Now you-
I move we continue the deviation request for the awnings at the Miramar Beach Mattress Firm until the September 3rd meeting.
Okay,
Second.
motion, second.
second,
Second.
Lee.
Lee, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Now, and is it possible for the applicant to bring back more than one option in a deviation request?
You can bring back as many as you want.
So,
Okay.
did you get that, Jim?
Yes, more than one option in deviation.
there you go.
And
There
have
you
some
go.
guidance as to what,
We're gonna
would
get
be
you
more
taken care
palatable.
of. Yeah, that's, yeah, well, you know, here's,
not red, yeah.
we're close to this, but we're not quite there, you know?
I think we're gonna continue that,
So-
baby.
Well, what you're saying is darker than what they're,
Yeah.
darker than what they provided.
I think in that tan family, brown, not ultra dark, but something that
A
works.
Not
dark,
bright,
a darker
Yeah.
accent instead of a lighter accent.
Some of this,
Because there are some darker colors in the Munsell, they're just not part of the approved Munsell palette.
right, that's what I just told Dave.
But red is in there, is in the muscle.
But they're
Yeah,
saying,
but not-
they're not gonna approve red.
No, but
No.
my point is if you're gonna approve something that's just in the muscle,
Well,
No,
all
no,
colors are
that's
in the
not-
muscle, but.
red is there.
No.
All colors are there.
Well,
We just don't want, just like, I don't want a hot pink building on 98. Can we all
I
agree?
understand.
So, but I'm sure there's a hot pink in the Munsell book, the big one.
Just something nice and, you
There was
know,
a building out in, near 30 Avenue, that had a brown, a deep brown.
Crossings.
Crossings,
Crossings.
yeah.
We approved
Yeah.
it.
Something
we
like
approved
that.
one
Great.
too.
Yeah,
Well, it's white with black awnings, the crossings.
Crossing was the same as 30 Avenue, basically, wasn't it?
Close,
Close.
but
Close, yeah. They
Yeah.
both have dark awnings and lighter color, but I mean, I know crossings is white with black awnings.
David, you quoted something from the code, I believe last month when this came up, that it said something about the colors chosen to draw attention.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a good guideline to go by in general.
Yeah, that, when we went to the Munsell palette, we put that in there, that color,
The rear,
you're
so
not,
you show that
you're
window,
not
that new window.
to draw attention to the building
elevations.
through the color.
Correct.
Like a pink or purple
Landscaping to
building,
kinda hide that.
because that's gonna draw your eye.
Or a
Right.
red building.
Or red awning.
Yeah.
That definitely draws your eye. So did you hear that, sir?
No, honestly, I didn't.
Okay, so just come back with some colors for us, and probably a little darker than what you
In the
have here on this
tan- In the
drawing.
tan,
Something like that. And the intent, sir, of the code is that the colors on the building, whatever colors they are, accents, whatever, are not to draw your eye to the building. That's kind of a good guideline to go by.
Yeah, the color,
That's why the
the
bright
color
red.
shall complement the design and not be so extreme that the color competes with the building for attention.
Competes with the building for attention.
But the red is complimentary, because I heard it say, man, y'all, the building, y'all's color really look nice.
Okay, let's go.
It took a minute,
Hey,
but.
they don't allow me to pick colors.
move
I
on.
might have been the one that said that. Thank you, Mr. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Chairman, we've got some new handouts.
All right, new handouts.
yeah, this is for the next item, the
Really
Great
approve this
Florida,
movie.
Or a new handout, right?
the Great Florida Smiles Master Signage Plan. There was an error in the drawing for the monument sign. So this replaces that.
I have a question for you, Tim. When did this building get approved?
Last year, yeah, it's under construction right now.
Almost finished.
Wow. Oh, I've seen
We had a lot of conversation about it.
it. God.
I think
I
one
can
of the,
tell it was before.
I missed that meeting.
I think one of the biggest issues was the windows, wasn't it? All the windows?
Color of the windows.
Yeah, the blue on the building, ugh.
It wasn't my project, but I was here for that meeting. I remember some of the discussion.
All right, well, let's look past that and move on with
Well,
the signage.
with this amended drawing, the master signage plan is in compliance with the scenic corridor sign codes. I mean, the master signage plan is mimicking the code. All the signs, the wall signs, the directory signs, the monument sign, it mimics what the code allows. But there was an error as far as this changeable copy on the other drawing. You can only have a maximum of 14 square feet of changeable copy.
Oh, and it said
28.
28. So that whole entire sign is gonna be changeable copy?
No, just 14 square feet.
Down at the bottom?
Which sign are you looking at? Because one of them's the directory.
That's what I'm trying to figure out here.
Which one is this one?
That's the monument sign.
So the monument sign goes down on, okay, that one's on 98.
Yes.
And where is the changeable copy on this?
Right there where he shows
Where
it.
it says it?
So it's
Yeah.
at the top.
It's at the top.
Yeah, so this
That's
sketch
unusual.
replaces the one that has what looks like 1, 2, 3, 4,
This one.
4 different changeable
No.
copy areas.
No.
No.
Which is it
The
replacing?
one that says tenant at the top. This one they put O'Donnell Eye Institute. The other one says tenant.
Yeah. So
Right.
this one is not good.
And it says 28 square foot of copy area.
It's
Yeah.
this one that it's
Okay,
replacing.
so let me get this straight. This goes in the back, this goes in the front.
No, that replaces that.
That replaces that.
Yeah,
Okay,
that-
there we go. Okay, now.
Yeah, that gets nixed.
Now we go to the other one,
Ugh.
and the other one's in the front.
Yeah, I believe there's one in the front and one on the side.
Yeah. So this one says 4 feet by, this must be the,
So directory, internal directory
that's the
sign.
internal directory. Okay, there's your directory sign, and this is the front sign. Okay.
Yeah, there's one, just as you turn into the site, and then there's one, in the back there, which I believe is, cross-access to the donut hole, I believe.
Yeah.
So
Where is
if
the
you're coming
monument
from the donut hole, then there's a directory there, and then if you're turning in off of Highway 98, there's a directory there.
Oh, I see. So you get 2 directories, 2 of these?
Yes, and then the monument sign is right there on the left side of the entrance as you
Here's the
come in.
directory, and here's the directory.
Oh, this is 98. God dang.
Yeah, I'm
This is,
back.
yeah.
Oh, all right.
These buildings.
So here's the monument,
And then the
directory.
Yeah.
Okay, in there, in the 8.5 by 11 master signage plan document, it's the first page behind your staff report, Tim.
Mhm.
It says, couple lines down, all copy must be individual standard channel letters or reverse channel letters, interior lit mounted to building facade. So do we have a building facade sign?
They're not actually showing one, no. There's no picture of one.
No, it just shows the location
The
of it,
location, yes.
to where it says tenant and tenant above it.
Okay, so when we make this motion, we're gonna be specific that we're not approving a building sign.
Okay, so they're not asking for a
Well,
building sign.
well, the whole,
It's a master signage plan.
right, so that gives
Includes all
staff the
You
ability
can, okay.
to prove,
So are we all comfortable with the, I think that the reference to interior lit is to the individual letters. So we,
which that mimics the code. That's what the code says, channel or reverse channel
Okay.
letters.
Right.
yep,
That's
and
correct.
it's got the sizes, all those look good. So
Yeah, that looked good.
So,
we're approving a master signage plan,
Master.
Yeah. Plus
not individual signs.
Plus the monument and the directory. I mean,
Are those
it's all
different
together,
motions?
but what it does is it gives staff the ability to approve the building sign. So anytime the building sign, changes tenant or whatever, then staff has the ability to approve that sign.
Okay, should we do 3 separate motions if we do this?
No, you just need to
no, it's
approve the
one master
master.
signage plan.
Yeah, it's one master signage plan. It includes the directory and it includes the monument.
Okay.
So
So
on,
read back through this.
so on here, this, anywhere on here can be the changeable copy, but it can only be a total of 14 square feet of it.
Right. Typically, it's in one place. It's either at the top or at the bottom, but that's correct. It can only be half of the copy area, the max copy area, but it's based on the sign. And they're doing an 80 square foot sign. On an 80 square foot sign, the max copy area is 28, half of that is 14. But say it was 20, then it's 10. It's 50% of the total copy.
So they could have 14 square feet of the changeable and then non-changeable
Correct.
to equal up to 28.
Well, the 28 includes O'Donnell Eye Institute.
Oh,
But see, this for a monument sign, it only allows the name of the plaza and up to 2 anchors. But each anchor requires 25,000 square feet. So to have 2 anchors on your monument sign, you need 50,000 square. You need a 50,000 square foot building. So they're just going to put O'Donnell Eye Institute, and then any other tenants they're going to do changeable copy. What some of these businesses do, they can't put it all in changeable copy, so they rotate it. Like every month or every other week, they rotate the name so they make sure they get all the tenants. But there's no room to put all the tenants onto the changeable copy. And the code doesn't allow them to put any other name other than the name of the plaza. If they don't have an, if they have a 20,000 square foot building, they can't
That's
have an anchor.
All right, so we got everything squared away on that then.
Okay.
All right?
Tim, are we all clear, just since they didn't label their drawings? That's the monument sign.
That's the monument, yes.
Can you write that down on your deal? Because I'm comfortable with that as the monument sign. I'm not really,
That's the
The-
tenant sign.
the directory sign
Directories.
is this other one.
And then- Yeah. No directory.
And directory signs can be that tall? I guess so.
It's a big one. All right, now we need a motion.
Yeah, they can be up to,
I don't make motions on developments I don't like.
well, off the top of my head, I forget, but I mean, I reviewed these. It's in compliance.
Okay. A maximum height of facade mount is 5 feet.
Are you looking at directory signs?
Yeah, is that a, just check 2 buildings?
They're pretty small usually.
Then you go up to.
Directional signs are maximum height 4 feet, maximum width 8 feet. Vertical format, maximum height 8 feet. Okay, yep. All right, I move the approval of the Greater Florida Smiles Master Signage Plan as presented.
Have a motion and a second? Second?
Second?
Gerald seconds. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
So we've got one more, do we have,
Yeah,
Move.
we're gonna ask you, with your permission, to continue the public hearing. And I apologize to you, that Sid wants to walk you or be with you when you do that, and she is with the commissioners at a land use conference.
We would love to have her do that, so,
Well,
you know.
she's highly invested in it.
Absolutely.
I move we continue the public workshop to discuss amending Chapter 13 of the Walton County LDC until the September 3rd meeting.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Motion, we have a second from Colleen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Colleen. And
Move the-
we have a
we
motion to adjourn. In a second.
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 South Walton
Thank
High
you.
School is what happens when you cook the code design.
Yeah, that was messed up there. Oh, yeah. Let me tell you.
That Supreme Court sign ordinance case, there's a Thousand Friends of Florida is doing a seminar on it in like a week or so. If you would like me to forward you the email to it, yeah. And it's only like $10. Yeah.
Man, forward that.
Painful.
You can forward that.
I can do that.
Yeah, it's a big Supreme Court case on the signage and
Yes.
what you can put on signs and what you can restrict. And
What is it?